Hi all, welcome to our lesson on how to make shortcrust pastry. Today what we're going to do is we're going to use some basics from the pantry to make a really good versatile pastry that you can either use as a sweet pastry or a savoury pastry. Today we're making the savoury one. If you wish to make a sweet pastry, all you need to do is add some sugar to the pastry as you're making this. So what we use in this pastry is you use flour, salt, butter, an egg and water. If you don't have an egg, you can actually omit the egg, but we do have an egg today, so we'll utilize that. So all you need is you need a food processor. Again, if you don't have a food processor, you can use it manually by using the rubbing in method. Okay, so add the flour and add the butter. And you're going to use the food processor to blitz these together. It will be noisy. And what you'll notice is that it forms small breadcrumbs. Now with the egg, you crack the egg open and you whisk the egg with a tablespoon of water. And the water is chilled water. The butter is actually chilled butter so that it holds its shape together. And I'll just notice that I've got a little bit of eggshell in here, so I'll get rid of that too. Whisk the egg and the water together. I'm just going to add about half of the mixture in, just so that I'm not over moisturizing the pastry. And it starts to come together in clumps, and I will need to use the rest of it. And it's coming together to form more of clumped consistency. So we'll take the blade out, and this surface has been cleaned. So what we'll notice is that when you pull it together, it comes together as a nice soft pastry. We don't want to overwork the pastry, but we'll grab it out and I'll pull it together. A little bit of the flour didn't mix together, that's all right. We can mix it together now. Pulling that out, kneading it together to make it form into one little clump. It doesn't take too long to do this, and we don't want to overwork the pastry. Right, and there we have a really nice, simple, basic shortcrust pastry. What we do then is we wrap it in plastic and you pop it in the fridge for about half an hour or perhaps even overnight for it to set, and then you bring it out and you'll roll it out together and it'll form the pastry. You then cut it out into the shapes that you want into the tins. Just moving off screen, but coming back, we've got some little tins that we're going to fill with the pastry. Then we're going to make a quiche Lorraine mixture and pop that in the pastry in our next lesson. The next step in the process is actually to roll out the shortcrust pastry. So what you do is you put some flour on the surface, you flour up a rolling pin, and you get your pastry and you just start rolling it out. Keep turning the pastry as you go. So that, oops, that was a fold in the pastry. So that the pastry doesn't stick onto the bottom surface. If you need to add some more flour, be generous with the flour and roll out. So you need to use your muscles a fair bit for this. It's a good workout. And what you're looking for is pastry that you roll out to about 3 or 4 millimeters in thickness. And it's best if this pastry has been chilled overnight, because it will hold together better than what it's currently doing for me at the moment. All right, that'll probably be enough for what I need to do. Then what you do is you get your pastry and you pop it into your tin that you're putting it in. Okay, so there's many ways that you can do that. And what we'll do next is we'll show you how to set up the pastry for blind baking. When you've got the pastry sitting inside your little pastry tin, roll up a little bit of excess and actually use it to press it into the corners so that your pastry lines all of the outside of your tin. Now, with short crust pastry, the pastry will shrink a little, but I'm not too worried or too concerned about that for this particular recipe. With blind baking, what you do is you actually use a fork and you make sure that the bottom surface of your pastry tart is well and truly aerated, and you can just use a fork for doing that. You can then add rice or pastry weights into this. It then goes into the oven for about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes. After about 8 to 10 minutes, have a look at it. If you think that the outside is cooked, you then remove the pie weights and the rice or the pasta or whatever you've got in weighing it down, and you put it back in for another 5 minutes so that the pastry has an opportunity to make the base go golden brown as well. So what we have here is we have our pastry. It's gone in the oven for the first 10 minutes. We've got our ceramic balls and our baking paper in here, so it's clearly filled up. What we're going to do now is I'm just going to pull up the paper and the balls, and we need to just return this to the oven for about another 3 to 5 minutes for the pastry to dry out underneath. If you were to actually see inside here, you'd see that the center is still a little bit moist. So we just want the pastry to dry out, and we'll have a look at it at the end. Okay, so here we have the finished result. You can see that it's pulled away a little bit from the shell casing and it has dried out completely. It's turned a little bit golden on the top, lightly golden on the top. So when we add our filling in the next lesson and we pop it back in the oven to cook our filling and we make our quiche Lorraine, that will continue to cook a little bit further. So there we have it, really simple and easy to make short crust pastry. I hope you enjoy it.